What a beaut this is, guys. You know, on the channel, we don't shy away from saying that, especially when a car looks so good. And that's something that we can't shy away from this one, man. The design language here is quite different. You see, I have the key in my pocket right now. The proximity sensing key in here is like a little bit sensitive. Just stepping away a bit, it's already misbehaving. Then I get closer, it decides whatever it wants to do. But I think you can just turn this stuff off, of course. But hey, look, this is the Jaecoo J7, part of the Chery Group. And we know right now, one thing that is confusing is why is Chery bringing all these products almost at once? Because I think the first Chery is revitalized. It came in 2021. We're in 2025. We're sitting with Jaecoo. We're sitting with the Chery itself. We're sitting with Jaecoo. Why am I forgetting the other one? Why am I forgetting the other one, guys? But I think it's 4 of them right now, right, from the Chery Group that we are having. I'll put it on the screen, and I know that I shouldn't be forgetting it right now. Jaecoo, Chery, Omoda. Why am I forgetting Omoda? Then Omoda as well. And you ask yourself then now, why so many brands at the same time? Because all of them were established by Chery. It's not like they bought them from another brand in China or anything like that. They were established by Chery. And that's another thing that I always ask myself, but why? Guys, you know what? This is the Jaecoo J7. I don't want to keep going and going and going, and this thing locks and unlocks and so on. This is the J7, of course, 1.6 liter turbocharged. You've seen this one in the Chery Tiggo 7 Pro, 8 Pro. You've seen this one again in the Omoda GT1, the C5. You're seeing this one again in here. So they have the same engine, and of course, because of differing weights and everything else, they will perform differently. We'll see how this one performs, of course. But you know, on the channel, we don't take a lot of time out of the car. We talk about it on the way. And guys, let's hit the road. Let's get in. Let's go. Oh, it's raining outside, guys. This thing is putting me back into position. I'm back in position now. And you know, when this happens, normally is because they're trying to get you feeling like you're in a premium kind of vehicle. And that's something that I think they're trying to do with the Jaecoo. And it will depend, of course, as to what you feel compared to the others, especially when you're looking at the Chery itself, the Omoda, and the Jaecoo. Now I got them, of course. But yeah, we're in now, and you can see, of course, that this interior is already screaming minimalism. And that's something that a lot of you probably like by now, because a lot of cars are no longer coming with too many buttons, but others are hating it because things like aircon controls and so on, people can't, or rather they don't prefer using the screen for that. You can see how massive this thing is. 14.8 inches. That is like laptop size, guys. So it's crazy. It's crazy. I think it's the biggest screen that we've seen on the channel as well. But hey, it can be a little bit too much when you're driving, especially at night sometimes. But when it's your car, I'm pretty sure that you'll get used to it and you won't be bothered by it anymore. Let's just... Should we start it? Yeah, let's start it. Told you that it was raining, so yeah, it's at least better now. And aircon off. With that, basically that's the button that you're getting with the one that is turning off the screen and the defogging one. Besides that, everything else is going to be operated in there. But what I like is that once you turn it on or off, you will be able to see on the screen in terms of additional settings that you want. HVAC, of course, you get that, it's dual, and then you can be able to adjust from one side and then another side as well without fighting with whoever that you're with in the car, of course. And then to adjust the aircon is just as easy as that. It depends how you're feeling when you're driving when it comes to that. Then we do have seat features as well. You can see heating, ventilation. Let me just ventilate my bum a bit so that, yeah, because it's hot despite everything that is happening. Then when you get settings, you just get like a lot more functions in terms of how the aircon should be. I don't know what it means. Eco, comfort, strong. You still have that on the aircon. I don't know how much of a difference that makes, but you will see that it has this air purification as well to make sure that your air is purified, especially for people with sinuses. I guess that will help you a lot. A lot of stuff that you're going to be doing is coming from this screen, of course. Navigation, that's the first thing that you get on home. Then you can also get to Android Auto or CarPlay, which is wireless in this case, or Bluetooth in this case, which is connected on my side. Then on the screen, just like a phone, it can show the settings or whatever the screen that you've been in before, which I think the screen, man, is intuitive, man. It's actually quite good that they've done it as big as it is. I find it to be quite impressive. The graphics, man, looks crisp and amazing at the same time. And then you can pull this when you're driving so that at least you can have those quick settings like your AVM. If you want to see something, of course you will be coming here. And you know, when it comes to camera system, man, you know, we can't be saying too much about that. Then, of course, you can also just be able to, why am I missing this now? Hey. Okay, this is the screen that I was looking for to get to the apps and everything else that you want to get. You can see in here, of course, the music and everything else, but hey, I can tell you about this stuff, but you've seen it in a lot of cars as well. What we need to do is to come to Vehicle Center so that we can be able to see what settings are in here, because this thing is packed with features. Of course, the buttons that are in here, if you're not going to be changing the driving modes with this one, you're probably going to be using the steering wheel to just adjust whatever you need to adjust on this screen, or you're going to use it for the volume controls and everything else here. Besides that, the screen is your friend. Quick controls, again, get in here, headlights and everything else. You can actually control the driving modes as well, but I don't think that is necessary because you can still use this one to actually just do the driving modes, which is normal, eco and sport in this case. But when you turn on the car, normally it will be on eco. And then let's get in and see. I don't think I need to read all this stuff, guys. You can see what's happening in here. Vehicle settings, probably that is something that is so interesting again as well, because when it comes to wireless charging, I like the fact that you can turn it off, and I've seen it with other cars as well. Let me just make sure that this thing doesn't disturb my thought process. So yeah, you can see that you can turn it off even if you want to put your phone down here so that it's not charging and it's not heating up your phone, because that's the disadvantage with this wireless charging stuff anyway. The steering mode, like that, I like that, because when it comes to this one, you can put it on sport or you can put it on mid. I like the steering wheel. I'll talk about it when we're driving, of course. I'll explain why I'm saying that, especially when it comes to Chery Group vehicles. HUD, of course, we do have it up here. Don't know if you can see it. Yes, you can see it. It's 0, whatever that is showing there. Then you can adjust it, of course, in terms of brightness, in terms of height and everything else. Then it will show you ADAS, meaning that when you have adaptive cruise control, because in this car, of course, you're expecting that it's here. You don't necessarily expect that it won't be here. This thing is packed with features, by the way, and it's a mid-spec, but we'll talk about that more when we are driving once again. You will get a lot of driver assistance stuff. You don't doubt that. Get the forward collision warning, AEB, reverse lateral AEB, lane departure warning, prevention. All these things are here. Emergency lane keep assist, all those things. You can see some of them. I've turned them off because I actually love driving without getting disturbed by the car, because sometimes it's just overly intrusive. Ambient lighting, I showed you this in the night video. If you want to see the settings around this, you can also go in there, but you can link it to the music and the driving modes as well. Vehicle comfort, driving position, rest position, alternate, and so on. You can do that. It's quite plenty of stuff that you can adjust in here. Again, that seat entry thing that we're doing when we're coming in, it does actually do that. Then in-car child detection, again, you don't need to leave your child in the car. I don't need to tell you about Bluetooth. I don't need to tell you about sound. I don't need to tell you about voice, display. You can change what this screen should do, like in terms of the wallpaper and everything else, then the theme that is here, you can change it as well. You can put this one, which I like this one because it's a little bit of a classic one. So yeah, because of that, I like that one. But back to the screen. This screen is so big that if I move the camera just too close, it's just it's just eating up some part of the screen. But hey, I don't think we're going to spend a lot of time on those, because yeah, that's mainly what you get in the screen. But there is a lot more stuff that you can do, of course, with the screen. Whatever that you want to do, to watch videos, all those things. I've seen that there's like a memory card thingy here. I don't know what that is for, but it looks like it's recording. I don't know if it's recording me, but hey, you know what? We need to hit the road now and see what this thing is all about. Okay, let's go. Okay, you can see that you can put your phone in here, which is another thing that I like, of course. When looking at the cup holders, I can't complain much about those. In fact, I hardly even talk about cup holders on this channel, if you didn't realize. But guys, look, this thing is, what is that sound? Oh, it's the seat. Is the seat. Let me turn it off. You see, that sound is off now because the aircon. Let me just put it on 1, and then we can go adjusting the mirrors and everything else. When you reversing, of course, you can be able to see what's happening down there. Not always the fan of this, but in some cars like this one, I think it's working. Can't complain about that. But in the Volvo, I feel like it was taking it too down for me to actually like. So I'm in a place called Rayton, right? This is Rayton, I think. Yeah, that's what they call it. It's not far from Cullinan. So we are hitting the road. So 145 kilowatts, 290 Newton meters of torque, which is something that you are familiar with, especially when we talk about Chery Group cars. Which brings me to who exactly is the competition for this vehicle, especially when I'm looking at the price point. The entry price point for the lower spec Vortex is 550,000 rands. I'll put it on the screen, the actual price. And this one, I think it's at around 580,000 rands. Oh man, these wipers, I feel like the auto ones are not necessarily in sync with the rain in terms of the amount of drops that are on the windscreen. But hey, look, this is at around 580,000 rands. Then the top spec Inferno, which is the all-wheel drive variant of this vehicle, it's at around 680,000 rands. So you get, or you spend 100,000 more to get that all-wheel drive variant, and it adds some bits of stuff, I think, but this thing is super packed and it's well spec'd. That's something that I like about it. It doesn't change a lot. I think the main thing that I saw on this additional spec, if I remember very well, was the this steering wheel. I think this is using Nampa leather in that car, but in this one I don't think it's Nampa, it's synthetic. I think that's what they call it, synthetic. So it's not an actual leather, but yeah, look, that's the main thing that I saw when it comes to this. Come on, man, am I passing or are you going in? Okay. Could have showed you like some juice that it has in this 145 kilowatts, but look, yeah, that's the main thing that I saw. And I think overall, because it's an all-wheel drive, in times like this when the road is slippery a little bit and so on, maybe you'll say you need it. But I don't find front-wheel drives that, like, they're not intimidating in the rain. So from that perspective, that's why I think this is the sweet spot. This 580, it justifies everything that this car offers, in my view. And that's the thing that I keep thinking about. But I look at the Chery Group, across the Chery Group, and I'm worried because the 7 Pro Max has the same engine. And it's undercutting this by what? 20,000 rands or something like that. And then you go to the Omoda. If you want the 1.6 turbo again, the GT, the C5, you're going to spend probably, I think, 580 as well. I'll check. And then The difference is the Jaecoo ones, because the dashing is the same one that, or should I say, it has the same size as this vehicle in a way, and you're spending less than that. And that's why I start to understand maybe that's what the Chery Group is trying to do, because with the Jaecoo there is a lot of stuff probably that they're not going to be of the highest quality. I'm not 100% sure because I haven't been in them, but it makes sense that it focuses a lot more on value for money than anything else. And then the Chery is not that far off to this in terms of the quality and the feel. Then when you're jumping over to the Omoda, I feel like it's not even different to the Chery at all. The Chery, the 7s and the 8s, in terms of the materials and how they feel and everything else. The difference though is that this one, they said it's going to be focused luxury wise, and with that I'm thinking they have a case. And one thing that I've mentioned is how this one drives, especially when it comes to the steering wheel feel, because when it comes to Chery Group, I've always had a problem. If you check my reviews with the Omoda, with the Tiggo 8 Pro, you would hear me talking about how the steering wheel feels like it's artificial, man. It's like it's not attached to the wheels. Do you call it a crank? Whatever that you call it, it's like it's not attached. And I get a little bit annoyed by that, by the way, to say, but man, why does it feel like this, man? But this one is a little bit different. Despite adjustments that you can have in there, this steering wheel feels proper on the road. I like that. Yes, it's not the most pointy steering wheel, but at the same time, from what I've experienced with the other Cherys, because at some point you find that, you see, I'm already turning to this lane, but at some point you find that I'm driving the Tiggo 8 and the steering wheel is tilted a bit. I was worried about that, and that to me was also a question of quality. And that's where this one comes in, because when we're talking the quality of this interior, from the door, or when you're closing the door, the sound that it makes, it assures you that, you know what, this is made of quality. The material choice, from the door panels, where you are touching, how you are feeling. Look, we can say this stuff about a lot of Chinese cars, but the difference to me is how it feels. And this is something that is going to be a little bit controversial, but here's the thing. I've always advocated for Haval because of how solid their vehicles feel whenever you get in the door, how heavy it is. Even if it's a Jolion, a simple Jolion, you'll still feel like this is more quality. And I felt like it's more quality than the Chery. I've said this before, but right now with this one, it's a little bit different, and I love what they've done with this. And I didn't think I'm gonna like it this much, because I thought, here's another Chery vehicle, because I didn't experience anything different with the Omoda. I don't know about the Jaecoo. I'm still to drive that. I hope to get it, but I didn't experience anything different to a point that I can say, yeah, I see the differentiation that they're trying to achieve with this one. So from that perspective, they've done a great job. Then we have to look at the design, guys. I said this in the intro already. I said this in the intro. This is where 100 is coming in. Maybe we should put it on spot and try to pull it for you from 50. Let's see how it talks to the road. I'm sorry, my brother. Look, from standstill, I know that it doesn't necessarily give you that, let's go. But when you're already on the move and you're trying to catch up, that's where it gets a little bit impressive. But hey, I always do this, man. I always move over before we finish what we needed to talk about, guys. But no, I like it when it's already moving. And maybe I need to let's talk about this performance before I jump over to everything else around the exterior and everything. Anyway, I already told you that this thing is so beautiful. I like it. Here's the thing, right? I'm putting it back to normal now. Here's the thing. From standstill, this thing sounds like the laziest of the vehicles for the figures that they gave you. 145 kilowatts. You're like, oh, what? You're screaming. It's like you're not moving. There's lag in everything when I'm trying to punch it down, and I start to get worried about that, right? But at the same time, when I'm already on the move and I'm trying to just punch it down to 120, look at that. Look at that. oh, I'm going down now. Others are gonna say, oh, but you were going down anyway. No. I feel like this, even like on a straight one, when I'm going up, I can't say the same because now it's screaming a lot. This engine, that's my issue with it. I like how the pairing is in terms of how the car is moving together with the engine and the transmission. You don't even feel the changes that are happening in between. But when you have to punch it down, it will almost always scream. It doesn't even forgive you for any second. It almost, it settles down quite well. See now, settled. I can't complain. 2000 RPM, which I feel it's a little bit high for a 1.6, but again, this is one of the heaviest cars compared to the ones that I told you about. When we're looking at the Jaecoo dashing, we're looking at the Omoda C5, we're looking at the 7 Pro, this one is the heaviest because it's around 1.6 tons, and those ones are around 1.5 and so on. So from that perspective, I would understand when it's trying to move this heavier, like 100 kgs more is quite a lot in the world of performance. Everyone knows that. Where it is winning overall is just the comfort levels, man. Besides that engine noise that happens when you're trying to punch it, besides this, it's, for me, it's the comfort. That's the biggest differentiator of this vehicle compared to the others. How it feels, how well insulated it feels, man. The suspension, and it's the thing, it's the same setup that you get in other cars as well, especially a lot of Chinese cars, because most of them will come with McPherson in front. They will give you multi-link at the back, but the way it feels, this 19-inch rims, why am I saying rims? The tires that are here, man, they actually are comfortable. I don't even remember the brand, but hey, they feel comfortable on the road. They are confident in giving you that comfort that you can say, I'm in a premium vehicle. I like this aspect of performance about it. From that perspective, that's where I'm leaning more towards this than any of the other cars that I've driven, especially the Chinese cars and so on, because I've complained about the performance in the ones that I like the comfort, but in this one I think it manages well, as much as it's not the most performing vehicle, but at the same time I think from what they're trying to sell you, because they're pitching it as a modern luxury kind of a value for money but luxury variant of the SUVs that they're offering. So from that perspective, they hit it, they hit the nail in the whatever that you guys are saying in English. Like the wind noise and everything, we were in the rain right now, but I didn't feel like, you know what, this is way too much, I can't handle this. No, I can actually live in here and feel so comfortable. Thanks again to these seats, they feel so comfortable. The lumbar support that is in here, it's the first time I am experiencing this. I think you can push the lumbar up and down, not necessarily in and out, like for you to, like, I don't even know what to say, but in and out, up and down. So yeah, it's the first time I'm experiencing this in the seat. It feels so great, it feels so good to be in these seats, man. They feel so good. It's like it's Napa leather, but still it's synthetic. I don't know how they managed to capture it in a way that they can even make you feel like this. So I think overall from that perspective, performance wise, comfort wise, man, I'm so touched. I'm sold, let me put it like that. I'm really sold on this one. Back now to the issue that we were talking about of the design and everything else. I'm gonna relate this design, right? And here I'm intentional. I understand that we do have the Sportages, we have the Corolla Crosses out there that are competing with cars of this price, and again with brand perception at the same time. It comes in and people still love those cars because of what they like, what they grew up dreaming of and what they thought they were going to buy when they grew up and so on. So from that perspective, we understand that it's difficult to penetrate in some markets, but the Chinese have been going crazy in sales because people realize just how much value there is. But jumping on to how this thing looks, suka. None of those cars I mentioned in the Chery Group are getting to this, and probably because I love angular shapes, and this one has that. It doesn't miss on that one, and I like it so much. The big grille in front, it's pronouncing I'm luxurious. It doesn't miss on that. Hey man, why are you driving like that? So when it comes to the design overall, man, I just love it. I don't do a lot of, hey guys, here is a chrome, this part is black. Guys, you can see the car. That's what I believe. But these DRLs, the way they place them, I said this in the night review, it is proper. It's amazing. I love it. Then you look at the main headlights as well. Most of the cars, I started liking this a little bit more with the current territory, and with the Nissan again, I liked it as well with the Qashqai. But in here as well, they've done it well, so much that you don't feel like the car is out of place, the same way that we felt with the first Juke and everything else, where the main headlights were like down there and then the DRLs were above. This one is just done so well, so nice. I love it. The proportions, probably the best part for me is the proportions, and I think that's why people sometimes relate it to the Range Rover, seeing a little bit of Evoque here and there. I don't, honestly, doesn't bother me. I don't care. Inspirations need to be taken from somewhere. You call it copy, you call it whatever, I don't know, but this one for me is one of the best looking vehicles that we have currently in the country, without a doubt. Sport mode, you're in, no car is here. I'm gonna do this for you so that you can see how it moves from you saw that leg, and then it punches. That's it. So yeah, you can hear the engine that it's actually screaming. It feels like it works a little bit too hard, honestly, which is something that I think they need to work on. They need to refine it better. I'm sure they can be able to do that. Probably in the next few years we will see a lot more refined engines coming out of China, because we've seen with their 2 liters, actually they're doing quite well. If you've driven the H6, you know what I'm talking about. So back to that design in the rear. Oh, hey, I know, I love the proportions of this thing, everything that they've done. That light bar, I've said this in the night review as well, it looks amazing when it's lit. It looks amazing in so many ways. I can't even complain about this car overall. I think it looks proper, it looks amazing. These 19-inch rims that they put here, yes, maybe I'm not sure if I like them that much, but everything just works well together. I think they've done a great job with how this car is designed overall. People can complain about, hey, fake exhaust, this and that. Guys, I don't care. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I don't care. When a car looks good, it looks good. To me, this one looks amazing. Jumping inside again, you can see, ooh, the minimalism is the new in thing, but sometimes it's done better. And this is where I feel like I'm also influenced by the quality of the materials that are in here. I've been in much more expensive cars that have turned out to be disappointing, especially with newer batches, like the first batches of the newer models. You'll find that there are faults here and there, and I've experienced that in some of the cars as well. I've said this, I think, in the Omoda as well, but in here, man, things are just working. I'm quite impressed with that. Pretty sure that the first batches probably, I don't know if they had issues or what, but this one is still new, meaning that it's like this car has been around for some time now, and quite impressive. I mean, this is the newest, I think, out of the Chery Group. It's the newest, because this brand, the Jaecoo, they started, I think, in 2023. The others, they started them before. This one is the newest, but I'm not sure. I stand to be corrected, because I know you guys, you know a lot about this stuff. Then you're gonna come for me. And immediately when I put it on, cruise control. Let's put it on cruise. Oh, it's been on sport overall. Let me push it up. This engine sometimes, this is the one thing that will bother me sometimes. Okay, cruised, and we are moving. Yeah, I was still talking about the interior, man. Look at this. Look at this. This thing looks proper. This thing looks proper. I mean, even the steering wheel, the way that a lot more other brands can do the steering wheel, but we're still complaining about touching the stuff, and then you find that things are already moving themselves and so on. When you're trying to turn to the left or right, then suddenly you are touching the button by mistake, and then it's commanding this and that. I've never experienced that in here. This steering wheel looks good. It looks amazing. I love how it looks. Probably looking like other steering wheels, but I just like it, of course. Together with this instrument cluster here, they've done a great job. It reminds me of the H6, but at the same time, you know, I don't care. Get the inspiration. Just don't copy directly, but get the inspiration. This screen, for some, like I said, it can be a little bit annoying, but hey, in my world, if you can push boundaries, do it. Do it. And I like that they've done that here. Looking at overall layout, man, this thing is just looking so good because it complements what is happening on the outside. The angular shapes that you are seeing in the interior right here are complementing everything that is happening on the outside, and that is something that I like because they managed to put like some bits of metallic bits here so that it can give you that feeling of, you know what, this thing is solid, man. As much as this feels like it's plastic and all this stuff, but they've done well in making it to be as appealing as it is. When you're looking at the seats as well, they don't just feel nice, they look nice as well. Looking at the rear, they didn't ignore the door panels as well. Everything here looks like it's carefully thought of in terms of putting it together. Yes, inspirations probably came from here and there. One can mention, oh, this looks like a Defender, oh, this looks like something. But guys, really, if we are being honest, sometimes we know that when it comes to Chinese, we are saying that because we have an experience that they are actually copying a lot of stuff. But honestly, maybe some people it bothers them, but to me, I don't really care that much. That was D4. Get down to 7 so that we can talk to the people. Look guys, I think I've mentioned a lot of stuff, and one thing probably that you would be buying an SUV for is definitely practicality. You can't ignore that one. And when it comes to everything else, the layout, how you're sitting and everything, sometimes when I'm in town I can complain about this part here. A lot is going on. I feel like sometimes it's giving me a little bit of blind spot. I can't complain too much about that. Sorry, I was avoiding that pothole there. I can't complain too much about that, but at the same time I'm like, bothers me because I need to lean forward a bit sometimes. But hey, look, practicality wise overall, door bins, this bin in here in terms of what you can do with it, you know, it's cooled as well inside the bin. If you want to put your drinks and everything else, your phones, you can put them easily on these charging pads here. You can turn off the wireless charging, so that means you will be able to put phones there and not find them shaking. Then you can also put the phone in here. You can see it's quite stable as well. There's a bridge underneath. You've seen it in so many Chinese vehicles as well, supporting you in that case. Spaces, this one, it has lower like wheelbase compared to a Jolion, and sometimes that means you don't have enough space in the cabin. Yes, it does have sufficient space because when it comes to Jolions and so on, they're sitting at around 2.7 meters in terms of the wheelbase. This one is just below at 2.6 something, which is not by 672 or something like that. It's not necessarily too off. It's just an inch of your shoe, man. It's okay. You won't die. I mean, the space is in the back. You can sit in there and just be comfortable. Even for someone who's like 1.8, they can be able to sit in there. 1.9, how many people are at 2 meters? I don't even know. The headroom, I'm okay with that. Can't complain about that as well. Then in the boot, maybe that's the quality that I have with it. It doesn't look that big. On paper, they're saying it's around 400 and something. I'll just put it on the screen. But it doesn't look that big because once I put the baby stroller in there, suddenly I don't have enough space. There is some space compared to your Jolions, compared to your Haval H2s. I've complained about that, you know. But I don't know, man. It's, yeah, maybe they're counting also that, what is that? The spare wheel part under the boot floor. Maybe they're counting that. I think they are. And they have a full spare wheel in there, which is quite impressive. I think it has a rim as well. It looks like it has a rim. So from that perspective, they've done a great job. I like that because then you can just change it and keep going. You don't need to go buy another tire. That is nice. I mean, these are expensive tires. 19 inch is not a joke. I think it's like 235/50 R19. That is, you can go check. It's not a cheap tire, of course, in that case. But yeah, that's what you get overall. The connections and everything else, you do get connections here in front and the connections here at the back. There are connections, type A, type C as well. You do get those. So from that perspective, they've done a great job. But hey, you know, it can be a complete trip if I do not talk about this Sony sound system that is in here. 8 speakers, the same one that you will find in the other Chery Group vehicles as well. And we've tested this sound system, just that in here, of course, we tested it at night. For me, there's scratchy sounds that are coming out of these 2 tweeters. I don't know. It's how they are placed, or is it this mesh grill thing that they've put here that is doing that? Because sometimes I know this kind of stuff does that. Maybe that is the reason. But overall, when it comes to the presentation, they've done a great job, because it always gives you that premium feel. But it's not about that. The sound system is about sounding good, sounding balanced. I find that the balance is okay, but these scratchy sounds are just bothering me a bit. But overall, you know how we do it. Let me just play it for you so that you can be able to hear how it goes like. Yep, that's basically how it sounds. You can actually hear that it diminishes a lot of outside noises and so on, but overall this car has good insulation, so from that perspective I can't even complain much. Even when you're not playing sound, probably just playing radio and so on, you will still be able to have a comfortable drive and everything else. So from that perspective, I think, yeah, it's just super amazing, man. I think they've done a great job. This is one Chery product that I can confidently say that it's actually worth everything that they're asking without even worrying about the quality and everything else. I'm pretty much impressed with this. I don't know if anyone has had mechanical issues or anything like that. You can tell me in the comments, but so far I'm actually quite impressed with how solid it feels overall. Not a lot of things in here are actually moving. I hate rattling, you know that, but I'm not experiencing that in here. And if you pick it up, of course, you know these kind of things. I think you get like 5-year 70,000 kilometer service plan, and then the warranty, I think it's up to 150,000 kilometers. But you know, with the Chery Group, again, you get 1 million kilometer engine warranty as a first owner. If you're buying it brand new, of course, then you can be able to be covered with that. But are you gonna keep this car for 5 years? I don't know if you're gonna do that. But if you planning to keep it on forever, then you can get a brand new one. Then you know that at least you are covered. But with that, there is a lot of cars in this segment. Like I said, from the Chinese in the group itself is competing. You look at the Julian. If you're not getting like the hybrid, you undercut this by probably more than 100,000. I don't remember very well. You look at the Corolla Cross, again, it's below 500,000. You will get a good car as well. Low on power. All these vehicles that I just mentioned right now, they are low on power compared to this one. We're talking Kia Sportage, amazing looking car, but the price probably to get an equivalent spec and look, you're probably going to be paying, yeah, almost 200,000 more. So that's a little bit too much from that perspective. But hey, look, overall, what a fantastic car, man. I can't believe that in this day and age, a lot of cars that you'd be comparing in this case are Chinese cars, because I can include your GAC in this case, Mcom, I think. Mzoom is the small one, right? Mco, right? That's the one. Undercuts this, I think, in price again, but again, it's low on power. And when I'm looking at the sizes overall, they're almost the same, man. 4.5 meters to 4.6 meters. Those are the cars that you'll be getting these days. And for me, man, there's just so many options. What it's gonna boil down to for me, it's literally the quality and finding that community that will be telling you whether a car is a quality or not, because there's just so many. just so many to choose from, especially at the same price point. Because when you go to traditional brands, if you go out there to get a similarly priced or similarly sized, probably your X1s, you're looking at your GLBs and so on, look, you're gonna pay a lot of money, and we can't lie about that. Your Q3s and so on, there's a lot of money that you're gonna be paying there. But hey, these things are great alternative for luxury travel that is not necessarily killing you out of pocket, and that's the selling point. We are seeing that the prices are increasing day by day, but that's because trust is also growing with these brands. We are seeing that they're selling. I'm pretty much impressed with what they're offering overall, man. I can say a lot. In fact, I didn't tell you that this particular gear lever reminds me of the tank from GWM. I don't know, it reminds me of the tank. But hey, overall, I see some inspirations, of course, but like I said, I'm not bothered. This is a great product. I'm actually quite impressed with what they've done with this car, man. This for me is probably my most favorite in the Chery Group. Yes, the engine screams, but once it settles down, it's a different story altogether. With that said, guys, it's late. You can see it's already past 6 now, and yeah, let's discuss everything else in the comments. Share what you need to share, and from that perspective then, guys, till the next one, I am out.